Hello everyone, I'm Morgan from Mirror Edge Networks. I'm based in Cape Town, South Africa, but today you join me at the Ultimate Home Cinema showroom in the UK. I'm very grateful that Mehmet from Ultimate Home Cinema has reached out to me to invite me through to this incredible home cinema demonstration room of his. We've just spent the last several hours going through some of the technicalities and the details behind this room and listening to various different audio clips as well as video clips so that I could understand and experience what this home cinema showroom is all about. To start with, what I'd like to do is talk about the configuration of this home cinema room. This home cinema room features a Trinnov surround sound processor for the 13 surround channels, 8 subwoofers and 12 overhead channels, maxing out the Altitude 32 processor with the 32 plus 4 extra DAC output. What's happening in this room is the speakers are from a company called Procella based out of Sweden, and there are a varying amount of different configurations within this room. So to start with, behind the projection screen there are standard LCR speakers. However, these speakers in this instance are required 2 channels of processing and amplification. So there is a main driver, a main speaker cabinet, and then a subwoofer that is paired to each of those to give us a full range speaker. And of course, those are behind the projection screen in the expected LCR locations. Then beyond that, as we move around the room, we look at the traditional surround speaker locations. So we have front wides, and then there are 2 sets of surround channels. There are specific nomenclature for these, and at the back of the room there are 2 sets of surround back speaker locations. So that gives us the 13 channels of surround. So we've got the LCR, wides, surround 1, surround 2, surround back 1, surround back 2. The interesting thing to note is that with the LCR channels in this room, the speakers, as I said, require 2 channels of processing and 2 channels of amplification. So on the base layer of surround speakers, that gives us a total of 16 channels worth of processing in this home cinema room. Then if we think about the subwoofers within this room, we have 4 subwoofers at the front of the room and 4 subwoofers at the back of the room for the Trinnov waveforming, and those each, as expected, require their own channels worth of processing and amplification. So that brings our channel count within this room up to 24. Then due to the fact that there are additional channels available in the Altitude 32, we have 12 overhead channels. So we have the traditional Atmos top fronts, top rears. There's a top center height, commonly referred to as the voice of God, and then we have LCR heights at the front of the room. And then to top it off, we've got the top front heights and the top rear heights, giving us 3 channels at the front, 1 at the center, traditional Dolby Atmos locations, and then the expanded Dolby Atmos locations, giving us 8 Dolby Atmos speakers, 1 center top height, and the 3 across the front, giving us the total of 12 channels for height channels. This is a very interesting configuration. However, if we think about the fact that the Trinnov processor has the ability to switch between Dolby Atmos, Auro 3D, DTSX, etc., we're being able to make sure that we have all the speakers available for all the different audio surround sound formats. With regards to the amplification for this room, the amplifiers used are the Trinnov Amplitude 16 amplifiers, and they have been configured in such a way that the LCR speakers are using a total of 9 channels of amplification. The main driver portion of the speakers is using 1 channel of amplification, but to get the most power output available for the low frequency driver on the main screen channels, a pair of the amplifier channels have been bridged, giving us 1,000 watts worth of power output from the Amplitude 16 into the speaker drivers, giving us a tremendous amount of power for the front soundstage before we start to think about rolling off to the low frequency response from the waveforming in this room. The amplifiers, as mentioned, are 2 Amplitude 16 amplifiers, giving us a total amplification of 32 channels used for the surround channels and the Dolby Atmos channels. However, there are also 2 Procella amplifiers, which are used exclusively to power the subwoofers that are in this room for the waveforming. As would be expected in a high-performance home cinema demonstration room like this, We have the LCR speakers at their optimal locations. We have the front wide speakers, which are angled towards the listening position. We have our first surround speaker location, and we have our second surround speaker location. At the back of the room, we have the surround back locations 1 and 2, and these have been angled towards the primary seating position. What is behind the black fabric panels over here are the subwoofers for the Trinnov waveforming. So these are placed in the optimal location in terms of height on the back wall, as well as the correct distance in from the side walls. And those are standing right over here. This is the AV rack of this home cinema demo room. I'm just going to give a quick little run through of the equipment that's located within here. So up at the top, we've got a Kaleidescape. Behind the little hidden doors, we've got the Apple TV and a Control4 EA1 controller, the CEDIA media player, the madVR Envy core video processor. We've got the Trinnov Altitude 32, the 2 Trinnov Amplitude 16 amplifiers. We've got the 2 Procella amplifiers, and beneath that we've got a 2 SurgeX power management PDUs. So this is the equipment rack that's powering this pretty awesome Dolby Atmos 13.8.12 home cinema room. The projector, which has been giving us this incredible visual, is the JVC NZ900 projector, and it's projected onto this massive CinemaScope acoustically transparent screen, which is a woven material, which obviously influences our audio as little as possible. The trailer, which is on the screen behind me, is of course one of Trinnov's latest trailers, which are released out to Kaleidescape platforms and on other download platforms. And this is an incredible demonstration of what is possible with regards to surround sound, and the visuals are of course also quite stunning. I'd like to talk a little bit about the clips that we watched. We watched some Hans Zimmer, which was absolutely incredible. The live show, which is very commonly accessed and known about. While watching the music, watching the video, you really felt as though the orchestra and the band was literally in front of you. I think what is particularly noticeable is that with an ultra high channel count system like this, there's a lot more freedom for the audio to move around, and so there's no way that you could pinpoint where the speakers are located within the room. We also listened to some Eric Clapton, and it was from a small intimate set where he's in, I believe, his house here in the UK. And what really was interesting is that the resonance and the details of the guitar and the actual space that they're in really felt as though it was represented here within the room. It felt like you were sitting on the couch in that very small room with them. We also then, of course, did the usual scenes like James Bond. And what was particularly interesting is that in the courtyard, when they are in the Aston Martin and having some shots fired at them, when the little shards of glass fall down and you hear them hitting the ground, or the shell casings, or the impacts of the gunshots, or even the actual shots themselves, because of the fact that there's so many speakers around, the movement of the audio is far greater. It was very difficult to pinpoint and say there's an effect coming from this speaker over here. It felt like it was just in the free space around us. And I think that really talks about the benefit to ultra high channel count home cinema rooms. I think most notably what was demonstrated to me today was that in music playback, the waveforming technology really shines through. While listening to Hans Zimmer and while listening to Eric Clapton, the low-end instruments, the bass guitars, the drums, etc., were incredibly clean, very impactful, but very precise. It didn't feel like they were bloated, or that they were muddy, or that they were overpowering any of the rest of the audio. And I think that really is a testament to the fact that the Trinnov waveforming technology has a great benefit, and especially while watching music, live concerts, etc., it really makes the entire experience much clearer and much more enjoyable. So that was really a highlight to what I experienced within this home cinema room. So that's a short video overview of what I've experienced here today at Mehmet's home cinema showroom for Ultimate Home Cinema UK. I, of course, want to say a massive thank you for him inviting me out here to come and experience this room and to be able to make this video and share my thoughts and feedback about it. If you are in the UK and are interested in a home cinema room, I would highly encourage you to reach out to him. I'll put his contact details and the link to his YouTube channel and to his Instagram down below. This is a great room. He's done an incredible job. The details I haven't even really touched on too much yet, but let me run through that. There are acoustically transparent stretch fabric panels which have been installed around the entire room. Behind the panels are diffusion materials where relevant and absorption materials where relevant, so that the room itself is incredibly comfortable to be in. I'd also say that the noise floor within this room is incredibly low. You can't hear the projector because he's built a very high quality hush box at the back of the room, which is isolated outside with an AC-finity air circulation system which ducts the hot air out of the projector box. The construction of the room itself with the timber riser for the seating is very well built and doesn't squeak or vibrate or give any sort of resonance within the room. And then quite simply the most how would I say it, interesting / shocking part, when you walk in, it's incredibly dark and incredibly black. There's zero reflection off of the projection screen onto the ceiling, which gives a color cast and affects your viewing experience. Similarly with the carpet. So the room, while it's very dark and very black, it doesn't make you feel like you're in a big black box, but it certainly gives you the impression that you're in a very, very high quality cinema demo room, or home cinema room for that matter. And looking at the details of all the panels that he's built and manufactured for this room, I can see that he's put a lot of time and effort and energy into it, and it really is an incredible space to be in. So big word of thanks and congratulations on that. So as I say, I would highly encourage you that if you're looking for a home cinema room, consider getting hold of Mehmet and coming down to this cinema showroom so that you can experience what Trinnov waveforming and this incredible JVC NZ900 projector can give you in terms of a home cinema experience. Lastly, of course, I do my best to reach out to and visit home cinema showrooms and other AV dealers whenever possible. I'm also grateful to the AV community in terms of the distributors here in the UK for having me come through to their spaces over the last few days so that I can experience what is possible with some of the brands which we don't particularly have available to us in South Africa. Of course, in this room there are Procella speakers, which is not a brand that we work with frequently. I have been exposed to them in the past and they are incredible speakers, and I'd highly recommend considering looking at their website and the details of their speakers. If you've enjoyed this video and what I've introduced to you today, please, I'd encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I try to make some videos like this several times per year so that I can bring what is possible from home cinema through to the community. If you think that there's somebody else that might find this video interesting or insightful, please share it with them so that we can grow this community. And as always, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope to see you again soon.